Hey guys, welcome back to Hands On channel. I'm glad you stopped by, and welcome here if it's your first time coming by. I appreciate it. And just to kind of give you a little background here, the reason I do news stories like this is because I feel the mainstream media is just ignoring many of these stories, and that information is not getting out there. So obviously the Hands On channel was started out to be a how-to DIY channel and maybe get into a little prepping and, you know, off-grid living, that sort of stuff. But because of the kind of person that I am, I can't stand to know that there's bombshell news like this out there sitting on a shelf and no one's reporting about it. So I have no journalism credentials. I have no reporter credentials. I was not trained by any college to do journalism. All I'm doing is finding articles that are not being exposed and reading parts of them to you that I think are the most important parts. So in this article, unfortunately, I've got a lot of stuff highlighted because this is a big deal, guys. I want you to please go read this article for yourself and do further research. You can actually go onto the drastic, it's all capital letters, DRASTIC, I believe. We'll get that here in a few minutes. They're the ones that actually are doing the investigation to find out the origin of the Rona and where it came from, which I think is very important. I think all of us want to know for sure, definitively, did it come from the Wuhan lab like we all suspect it did? This article that I'm fixing to get into here should tell you clearly where and who was involved with the creation of this pandemic that we're all going through right now. And I did not stutter. I said that correctly the same way Jen Psaki said it in her meeting a few weeks ago or a week ago, whenever that was. She called it a pandemic, so that's what I'm going to call it. I mean, that's what the press secretary is saying, so why not? If it's good enough for her, it's good enough for me, right? So we're going to get into this, guys. The headline is WorldNet Daily, yesterday, September 22nd, 2021. Fauci-funded scientists plan to release Rona in bat caves. Boom. Bombshell. They planned on doing it. So the grant proposal confirms dangerous research that possibly triggered the pandemic. So, I mean, this is about as bombshell as it gets. And yet, what are we seeing on the news? Almost every mainstream and alternative news site are focused on this young girl that disappeared. And I get it, you know, she's young, she had some sort of a social media presence, and, you know, she's relatively attractive, so they have to, you know, put all of the media attention on that. But, you know, that doesn't make any sense to me. I was just asking my wife, I was like, why in the world are they doing wall-to-wall coverage on this missing girl, this whodunit? They must be trying to distract us from something else. And this is what I think they're trying to distract us from. The origin of the Rona. Who made it? Who funded it? Who put it together? Who put the wheels in motion? So let's get into this. I'm going to need my anti-communist glasses, and I'm sorry for the glare. There's really nothing I can do about that. So we're going to get right into this. A U.S. grant proposal shows Americans and Chinese researchers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology sought funding for a risky plan to make Rona particles transmissible to humans and release them in bat populations. Let's go over that again, just slowly. I mean, again, this kept me up all night, guys. When I saw this, I was like, this is it. This is smoking gun evidence. And in my opinion, Fauci needs to be taken into custody right now and put on trial as soon as possible, immediately. And it needs to be like a Nuremberg 2.0. Okay, so let's go back over that again, just a little slower. So there was a proposal, a grant proposal. Americans and Chinese researchers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology were looking for funding for a risky plan to make the Rona particles transmissible to humans and release them into the bat population. Why would they want to do that? Let's read further. The 2018 proposal, reported Wednesday by the Telegraph of London, confirms researchers funded by the U.S. government were conducting dangerous gain-of-function research, engineering Rona that possibly escaped the lab and caused the global pandemic. They don't call it that. They call it a pandemic, but we're going to, you know, whatever. Again, I'm not a trained reporter. I can do whatever the hell I want. I still have that right, at least until they shut me down. So The newest revelation is that the researchers plan to release enhanced skin-penetrating airborne Rona nanoparticles and aerosols. Okay, so let's go back over that just a little slower. The newest revelation is that researchers plan to release enhanced skin-penetrating airborne Rona nanoparticles and aerosols containing novel chimeric spike proteins into the Chinese bat population in Yunnan, China. They say they were doing that to inoculate the animals against disease that could spill over to humans. So there we go. They were actually doing it for our own good, because what they were worried about, at least this is my understanding, my layman's understanding of this stuff. And again, I'm not a virologist, so I don't understand a lot of this stuff. A lot of it, they're talking over my head, but I get the basic idea of it. What they're saying is they were trying to make sure, these researchers were trying to make sure that there was no way that this thing could transform, or whatever you'd say, or gain a function in nature. So they're trying to get ahead of that so that it didn't spill over to humans. That's their excuse they're giving. You and I know that's probably not the truth. So the researchers also hope to introduce human-specific cleavage sites, and that's not the kind of cleavage you and I are thinking about. It's something else, something to do with virology. So they were going to release that to bat Rona, and that would make it easier for the Rona to enter human cells, according to the request for $14 million in funding from the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. So DARPA. This is a letter that was released from DARPA regarding this grant request by the EcoHealth Alliance, and we're fixing to get into that. The bid was submitted by British zoologist Peter Daszak of the EcoHealth Alliance. And we've heard that name before. If you've been following the different hearings that Senator Paul has been asking questions of Fauci and all this under oath, and Fauci clearly said several times, we're not part of the whole gain of function thing. We didn't know anything about that. We don't have anything to do with it, on and on and on. According to this, Fauci, this Peter Daszak guy is like Fauci's right-hand man. So he's doing stuff over here for the EcoHealth Alliance. Meanwhile, he's going back and forth with Fauci. So let's see here. His work on bat Rona was funded by Dr. Anthony Fauci's National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, NIAID. Daszak's team included Dr. Shi Jingli, the Wuhan lab researcher known as the Batwoman. So if you've heard of the Batwoman talking about different things on TV and doing interviews, it's this Dr. Shi Jingli. And I apologize if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but I don't speak Chinese or know how to pronounce Chinese words. So there you go. But yeah, here it says it right here, a whole mouthful. The zoologist Peter Daszak of EcoHealth Alliance. And let's just break that name down real quick. EcoHealth. Wonder what that means. Are they worried about Mother Gaia's health, or are they worried about human health? I don't know. It's interesting that it says eco. It's called EcoHealth Alliance. So could it be that they're doing what they think they should do for Mother Gaia, in that, the real virus is humanity. So they're trying to create this stuff to wipe out humanity or reduce the population, so that, people like Bill Gates and Ted Turner and Klaus Schwab and George Soros and all these other globalist eugenicists will be super happy. I think that's really what it's about. So the 2018 bid was rejected by DARPA, but numerous grant proposals to Fauci's NIAID for gain-of-function research were accepted, and the research was also carried out. So there you go. There he goes again. Fauci sitting on stage saying that, oh no, we don't know anything about gain of function, blah, 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 lying to Congress, at least in my opinion. And I hope that they nail them for that. I hope they nail them all for that crap. Continuing on, the Telegraph reported the papers were confirmed as genuine by a former member of the Trump administration. They were released by Drastic, and that's all capital letters, DRASTIC. I went and looked at that myself, and you can go check it out yourself. The Drastic people, they're a web-based team of scientists investigating the origins of Rona. So that's basically the gist of that. And hey, I think that's great. I'm glad to hear somebody at least is looking into it. It certainly isn't the U.S. federal government, because they don't want anything to do with the origins of Rona. Nancy Pelosi, at every turn, every single time Donald Trump tried to get an investigation going on, she shut it down. She called it xenophobic and racist. when really it's science. We were trying to figure out where the hell this crap came from so that we could see if this was actually a biological attack on the United States done intentionally, or if it was just some sort of a weird accident that, you know, it released from the lab. According to this stuff, it was no accident. They planned on putting it in a bat population there in Yunnan, China. So, but the scary part is they were making infectious chimeric mirrors, the source told the paper, pointing out that mirrors have a fatality rate of more than 30%. Estimates of the infection fatality rate of the Rona vary, but many calculate that it's 1% to closer to 0.2%. So anywhere from 1% to 0.2%. That's your chances of death from the Rona. Now, again, that goes up. So obviously that goes up if you have some sort of a comorbidity or any other thing, maybe a hidden condition you didn't know you had, then obviously your chances of death go way up. But I've said all along, guys, this thing looks like it was designed to attack people that have weakened immune systems, and generally speaking, that's elderly people. So I believe this was a genetically modified thing to attack a certain type of people in this society. People that are more of a drain in their eyes. I'm not saying this. I don't think old people are a drain on society. I believe our elderly people are the ones that we need to be looking to for the knowledge and information that they have in their heads. And they're a very important, vital part of our societies. And just, you know, interacting with them, hearing their stories, talking about the old wars, you know, things like that, different things that they had a different set of experiences than a lot of us did, and it's important for us to be able to relate to those and communicate with those people and learn how it used to be. Maybe that's why they don't want those people surviving, is because they're the ones that have history in their mind and they can tell you what happened in the past. So it would slap in the face their attempt to rewrite history. At least that's my opinion. So long ways down the rabbit hole there. So it says here, if one of their receptor replacements made mirrors spread similarly while maintaining its lethality, the source said, this pandemic would be nearly apocalyptic. The project put communities at risk. So Drastic said in a statement that the theory that the novel Rona was engineered is plausible because the grant proposal discusses the planned introduction of a cleavage site on the spike protein that makes it easier for the protein to penetrate human cells. Why would they be doing that? I mean, I know they say it's to get ahead of this thing, but that's not true. We all know it's not true. Why would they be engineering things that are more infectious and can penetrate humans and human cells, and they were just planning on putting it into the bat population? I mean, wouldn't it be common sense to say that, you know, you would, if you're trying to prevent gain of function from happening in nature, that going and injecting them with something that already has gain of function in it that will transmit to humans is not the way to do that. I mean, call me kooky. I'm not a scientist. I'm a mechanic. So maybe I'm just not understanding scientific theory here or something, but I see no positive in going and putting this out in the bat population like they were trying to do. So let's continue on. So DARPA explained it refused to fund the work because it was clear that the proposed project led by DASAC could have put local communities at risk. So, my God, for once, I mean, I've heard of some crazy ass stuff coming out of DARPA over the years, but for once, DARPA was like the adult in the room, and they were like, no, this is a bad idea. This could put local communities at risk. I mean, they didn't want to start a war with China. They didn't want, you know, Fauci going over there with DASAC and cooking up some juice and releasing it onto the bat population, and then suddenly everybody starts getting sick, and the Chinese government will be like, hey, this is a biological attack, rightfully so. Instead, they went and used China's own lab against them. That's how these people are. And I'm not sure if the Chinese CCP and the Chinese government are behind this stuff or involved with this stuff. So I believe the Chinese government is involved in some of this stuff, but I don't know how much they knew about this. I certainly don't think that they would have been on board with the Americans coming over there and doing that and just releasing that stuff into the bat population. So The agency, DARPA, warned that Daszak's team had not properly considered the dangers of the gain-of-function research. The world should be furious, and I totally agree with that. You should be furious, and I hope this lights a fire underneath you and proves to you once and for all, all of you people out there that have been questioning this thing, all of the people that got their videos removed and their posts removed from Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all these other things, you've been vindicated right here. They're telling you that in 2018, Fauci and Daszak went over and to the DARPA agency and tried to get money from them so they could go do this stuff. And they had to tell DARPA what they were doing. To get the grant approval, they had to tell them what it was about. So they did. And now this has been released. And it's a miracle that somebody, Drastic, I guess, is who gets the credit for this. It's a miracle that Drastic was able to get this document released. Please, guys, go read this. I've asked you to read lots of other stuff in the past, but I'm telling you, man, this is it. This is the smoking gun evidence that proves they were trying to do the exact thing that actually ended up happening in the Wuhan lab and being released, in my opinion, intentionally into populations. Fauci and Daszak and everybody else at the Wuhan lab, everybody else at the NIH or NIAIH or whatever the hell it's called, Fauci's organization, everybody at the EcoHealth Alliance Center, they ought to all be put on trial. Nuremberg 2.0. Call your congressman and tell them you want Fauci to be prosecuted for this. Be careful what you say. You know, I mean, we can't pick what the punishment's going to be, but in my opinion, it should be along the lines of Nuremberg trials. I mean, these people have committed, I mean, I guess you could argue, you know, attempted genocide. I don't know if you could actually say it's genocide, but they've certainly caused problems worldwide on a scale that we may not ever recover from. We've never seen anything like this before. They caused the United States of America to shut its economy down. What is that worth? How much wealth was transferred because of their shenanigans that they were doing, playing God? This has got to stop, people. And if you think this is the tip of the iceberg or whatever, I mean, it is, but there's so much more to it. They were doing so much more stuff. Fauci's experiments on aborted fetuses and stuff like that, and on animals and basically making chimeras. This guy is a mad scientist. He has to be stopped. I hope you'll call your state leaders and your national leaders and you'll let them know that you want Fauci to be put on trial for this, and Daszak and anybody else involved with this stuff, guys. This is just so bombshell. I'm sorry to get extra passionate about it, but I mean, this stuff, again, I was up all night just thinking about this, going, oh my God, this is it. We've all been vindicated. Everybody that accused them and were called conspiracy tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists and stuff like that, we have been vindicated. This is it. They did it. They actually did it. Here's the proof. Go read it for yourself. Go check out Drastic. Go check out the World Net Daily, the London Telegraph, or whatever that other one that I referred to. I'll try to have links down in the description or maybe the comments for all you guys to check out. Let me know. Does this excite you that the truth is finally coming out? Does it make you feel vindicated for the work that you've been doing and the people that you've been trying to tell the truth to? Go show them this stuff. Spread this stuff. It needs to spread like wildfire. The only way we do it is we share this kind of stuff. I don't care if you share my video or not. Share the information. Take credit for it. Go out there and tell them you discovered it. I don't give a crap. All I care about is that people get the truth and they know the origin of this Rona, because I think it's super important. Super important. And it's really important so that we don't make these same mistakes again. And the next time we see stuff like this happening, we'll know to nip it in the bud before we allow it to become a global pandemic. Complete ridiculousness. Look at what's going on in Australia. Look at what's going on in New York City and California. I mean, my God, the freedoms and liberties that have been taken away from people in the name of this crap that they put out. I don't know. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do, but also remember who the biggest V pusher of all time ever has been. It's two people, Bill Gates and Anthony Fauci. Do you trust them? I don't. So make your own mind up. Do what you want to do with your health and your body, but I think I'll take the 1% to 0.02% chance with trying to get my body to build up some kind of a natural immunity to the thing rather than going out and taking a V that's experimental gene therapy. Unbelievable, guys. This is it. This is it. The New World Order. We talked about it in the last video. This is it. This is part of their plan. Stay strong, guys. Don't let the lies pollute your mind. Go seek the truth, find the truth, share the truth. I appreciate you tuning in to the channel. I stand for liberty. I hope you'll join me. I know you do. A lot of people that stayed to the end here, I know you will. So I'm having just a feeling of an uprising inside of my belly that I can feel around the country. People are waking up to this bull crap. See you guys next time.